The Vranthi Collective had never lost a battle. Not in 4,000 years of continuous expansion. Not against the armored dreadnoughts of the Kythrani remnant. Not against the biofleets of the Dreshk swarm. Not against the dimensional fortresses of the Seraphim Ascendancy before that empire crumbled. The Vranthi did not fight wars of conquest, they fought wars of annihilation. When the collective decided a species was a threat, it did not invade, it did not occupy, it erased. Every ship, every station, every settlement, every trace of the target species was removed from the galaxy with mechanical precision. They had done this to 31 species. 31 extinction events, documented, catalogued, celebrated in Vranthi military archives as examples of collective efficiency. Their military was their civilization. Every Vranthi was born into a combat caste. Every citizen was trained from birth for warfare. Their economy produced nothing but war material. Their research focused exclusively on weapons technology. Their culture revered only one virtue, overwhelming force. The collective controlled 6,000 systems. Their fleet numbered 4.2 million warships. Their soldiers numbered 3 trillion. Their shipyards produced a new warship every 14 seconds. They were the largest military power in the galaxy. They were aware of humanity. Every major power was aware of humanity now. The species that had reformed the Galactic Council. The species that had contained the Dominion. The species that had destroyed the Harrower. The species that policed the galaxy with 2.1 million ships and an intelligence network that seemed to be everywhere. The Vranthi had studied humanity carefully. They had analyzed the Council Reformation. They had reviewed the battle records from the Dominion containment. They had examined the Harrower engagement data. Their conclusion was simple. Humanity was dangerous but overextended. 2.1 million ships spread across 47,000 systems. An average of 44 ships per system. That was a perimeter defense, not a concentrated military force. The Vranthi could concentrate overwhelming numbers at any single point and achieve local superiority. Humanity relied on technology, advanced shields, absorption fields, molecular disruption beams, impressive on an individual ship basis. But technology had limits. The Vranthi had developed countermeasures for every human weapons system they had catalogued. The Collective War Council met in the fortress world of Vranthar Prime. 27 fleet commanders, the Supreme Commander, the Chief Strategist, the Director of Weapons Development. Supreme Commander Threx addressed the Council. His body was massive even by Vranthi standards, 2.8 meters of dense muscle and hardened carapace. His 4 arms were each thick as a human torso. His eyes were compound. Hundreds of lenses that could track simultaneous threats across a battlefield. Humanity has established a buffer zone along our shared border. 17 systems claimed by humans, minimal garrison. We estimate 40 ships per system on average. 680 ships total defending a front of 400 light-years. Chief Strategist Vel examined the holographic display. A thin line, deliberately thin. They are relying on detection networks to provide early warning, allowing their main fleet to respond from interior positions. The strategy assumes they will have time to concentrate forces before we achieve our objective. They will not have time, Threx said. We will not attack the buffer zone, we will bypass it. Operation Iron Storm calls for a direct strike at the human industrial world of Prometheus. It is 300 light-years behind their border. Their fleet will not reach it in time. How many ships are assigned to Prometheus? Intelligence estimates 400, a standard garrison for a major industrial world. And our strike forces, 50,000 warships, First Fleet, Second Fleet, and Third Fleet combined, the largest single armada the collective has deployed in 800 years. Vell studied the numbers, 50,000 against 400, a ratio of 125 to 1. The Vranthi had won battles with worse odds, not because of technology, because of numbers. The Vranthi doctrine was simple: concentrate maximum force at the decisive point, overwhelm through sheer mass. No enemy could withstand 50,000 ships. The humans will detect our approach, Vell said. Their sensor networks are extensive. Yes, they will detect us approximately 40 hours before we arrive at Prometheus. That is not enough time for them to respond. Their nearest major fleet concentration is at the Frontier Command, 700 light-years away. Even at maximum human warp speed, they cannot reach Prometheus in 40 hours. Their response will come after we have taken the world. Correct, by the time human reinforce. Cements arrive, Prometheus will be under Vranthi control. We will have captured their industrial infrastructure. We will have demonstrated that their perimeter defense is porous. We will have proven that the human military is a paper tiger, spread too thin, too dependent on technology, too confident in its reputation. Vell nodded slowly. And if the humans respond with a larger force after Prometheus falls? Then we withdraw, we do not hold the world, we destroy it. We eliminate their industrial capacity. We demonstrate that we can strike anywhere in their territory and they cannot stop us. The psychological impact will be greater than any territorial gain. The Council voted unanimously. Operation Iron Storm was approved. 50,000 Vranthi warships began assembling at the staging point in the Vranthi core system. The armada filled space for 6 million kilometers. Dreadnoughts, battleships, cruisers, destroyers, escort vessels, support ships, fuel tenders, ammunition transports. It was a machine designed for one purpose: destruction. The Human Detection Network flagged the Vranthi assembly within 6 hours. The alert reached the Human Protection Command at 2:17 hours Standard Time. Commander Sarah Chen was on duty. She read the intelligence report. 50,000 Vranthi ships assembling at a staging point 300 light-years from the human border. The trajectory analysis was clear. They were not targeting the buffer zone, they were aiming at Prometheus. Prometheus, population 4 billion, industrial output 12% of human military manufacturing, shipyards that produce dreadnoughts at a rate of 3 per month, the single most valuable industrial world in the frontier sector. Chen escalated to Admiral Reeves. He arrived at the command center within 30 minutes. He read the report. He studied the trajectory data. He looked at the force comparison. 50,000 Vranthi ships, 400 human defenders at Prometheus, 40 hours until contact. The Frontier Command Fleet is 700 light-years away, Chen said. Even at maximum warp, they cannot reach Prometheus in time. How many ships can we scramble from nearby systems? Approximately 2,000, distributed across 12 systems. They could converge on Prometheus in 38 hours. But 2,000 against 50,000 is not a defensible ratio. Reeves was quiet. He stared at the display, 50,000 red dots, 400 blue dots. The math was not negotiable. We have a prototype at the Titan shipyards, Chen said carefully. It completed final trials last week. Reeves looked at her, the Vanguard. Oh yes. How fast is it? Faster than anything in the fleet. New drive system. It can reach Prometheus in 16 hours. One ship. Against 50,000. Oh yes. Reeves was silent for a long time. The command center hummed around them. Officers worked at their stations. The display pulsed with the approaching threat. Is it ready? It completed trials. Combat certification has not been finalized. It has never been tested in actual combat conditions. Can it fight? It was designed to fight. Whether it can fight effectively against 50,000 ships is unknown. Reeves looked at the display again. 50,000 ships, 400 defenders, 4 billion civilians on Prometheus. 16 hours until the Vranthi arrived. If the 2,000 scattered ships tried to reinforce, they would arrive 2 hours before the Vranthi. 2,000 against 50,000, still hopeless. They would die, then Prometheus would die, then 4 billion people would die. Unless something changed the math. Get me Captain Webb, Reeves said. Captain Daniel Webb was the commanding officer of the UNS Vanguard. He had been handpicked for the assignment 18 months ago. He had overseen the construction. He had run the trials. He knew the ship better than any living human. He arrived at the command center in 20 minutes. Tall, lean, gray hair cropped short, eyes that had seen combat against the harrower and come back different, quiet, precise, a man who said little and meant everything. Captain Webb, you have heard the situation. Oh, yes, sir. You are the only asset that can reach Prometheus in time. I am ordering you to intercept the Vranthi fleet before it reaches the planet. Webb did not hesitate, understood. You will be alone, 50,000 ships. I cannot offer you reinforcement. I am aware, sir. The Vanguard is not combat certified. This is beyond the scope of your trials. The Vanguard was built for exactly this, sir. A threat too large for conventional forces. A situation where numbers do not matter. I would rather deploy now with uncertainty than wait for certainty that comes too late. Reeves looked at him. This was the moment where a lesser officer would ask for reassurance, would question the order, would express doubt. Webb did none of those things. Go, Reeves said. Webb saluted. He left the command center. He boarded a shuttle to the Titan shipyards. The Vanguard waited in orbital dock, a single ship, black hull, no markings. 16 hours to Prometheus. 50,000 ships waiting. The UNS Vanguard was not a warship in any conventional sense. It was 47 kilometers long. That was larger than any human dreadnought, but length was not what made it different. Length was the least remarkable thing about it. The Vanguard did not carry weapons, not in the traditional sense. There were no energy turrets, no missile tubes, no kinetic railguns. The hull was smooth, no weapon emplacements, no sensor arrays, no visible technology of any kind. The ship was a single integrated system. Every molecule of its structure was part of a unified field generator. The technology was called cascade theory, developed over 40 years in the most classified research program in human history. Cascade theory proposed that a sufficiently advanced field generator could manipulate the fundamental constants of physics within a defined volume of space, not shield against weapons, not absorb energy, change the rules. Inside a cascade field, the speed of light could be altered. The strength of molecular bonds could be modified. The behavior of electromagnetic fields could be rewritten. The gravitational constant could be increased, decreased, or reversed. The Vanguard carried a single cascade generator, one device, 47 kilometers of hull designed to power it, focus it, and direct it. The generator had been tested in controlled conditions. It had created a sphere of influence 7 million kilometers in diameter. Within that sphere, human scientists had successfully altered physical constants. They had accelerated light. They had weakened molecular bonds. They had suspended electromagnetic fields. They had also discovered the generator's limits. It could not sustain maximum output indefinitely. At full power, the generator would exhaust its energy reserves in approximately 45 minutes. After that, the field collapsed. The Vanguard would be defenseless. 45 minutes to defeat 50,000 ships. Webb stood on the bridge of the Vanguard. The bridge was unlike any other ship's command center. No tactical displays, no weapon stations, no navigation consoles, just a single chair in the center of a circular room. The walls were black, the ceiling was black, the floor was black. When Webb sat in the chair, the ship connected to his neural interface. He became the Vanguard. He felt the hull as his skin. He felt the generator as his heart. He felt the space around him as his breath. "Undock," he said. As the Vanguard released from the orbital dock, it moved away from the Titan shipyards, alone, one ship against the void. "Engage Cascade Drive, course Prometheus, maximum velocity." The drive was not warp. It was not FTL in any conventional sense. The Cascade generator bent space around the Vanguard and propelled it through the distortion. The ship did not travel faster than light. Light traveled slower around the ship. The Vanguard crossed 300 light-years in 16 hours. It arrived at the Prometheus system and immediately detected the Vranthi fleet. 50,000 ships, in formation, moving toward the planet, 44 minutes from orbital bombardment range. The Vanguard hung in space at the edge of the system, one black shape against the stars, invisible to Vranthi sensors. The cascade field made the ship undetectable. No emissions, no reflections, no mass signature. The Vanguard simply did not exist as far as the Vranthi were concerned. Webb felt the fleet through the cascade field, 50,000 signatures. Each one a complex pattern of energy and matter. He could sense their weapons, their engines, their shields, their crew. 50,000 ships, 3 trillion Vranthi soldiers, all of them believing they were about to destroy a human world with nothing to stop them. Webb took a breath. "Activate cascade field, full radius. Standby for engagement." The generator hummed. The space around the Vanguard began to change. Supreme Commander Threx watched the Prometheus approach from the flagship Invincible. The fleet was in perfect formation, wedge-shaped attack vectors, dreadnoughts in the center, cruisers on the flanks, destroyers screening the perimeter. A textbook Vranthi assault formation. Time to bombardment range. 44 minutes, Supreme Commander. A human response. None detected. The Prometheus garrison has not moved from orbit. No reinforcements detected on any approach vector. The humans have not responded to our presence. Threx was not surprised. The humans could not respond. Their fleet was too far away. Their scattered forces were too few. Prometheus was going to die, and there was nothing humanity could do about it. Maintain formation. Proceed to bombardment range. Prepare planetary suppression protocols. The fleet advanced 43 minutes. Ease 42-41. Supreme Commander. The sensor officer's voice carried an edge that Threx had never heard from him. "I am detecting an anomaly." "Explain." "A gravitational distortion, centered approximately 8 million kilometers from our position. It appeared 4 seconds ago. It is expanding." "Nature of the distortion." "Unknown. It does not match any known phenomenon. It is not a natural gravitational source. It is not a weapon signature. It is not a ship. It is simply there." Threx looked at the sensor display, a faint shimmer in the sensor image, like heat haze, like the air above a fire, but in space, where there should be nothing. "Magnify." The display zoomed, the distortion resolved slightly. At its center there was something, a shape, black, angular, 47 kilometers long. "One ship." "One human vessel," Threx said, "alone." "Signature matches no known human ship class. It is not in our database." "It does not matter. One ship, ignore it. Maintain course." "Supreme Commander, the distortion is still expanding. It is now encompassing our forward elements." Threx frowned. The shimmer was growing, spreading outward from the black ship like a ripple in water. It had reached the outer edge of the Vranthi formation. Destroyers on the perimeter were now inside the distorted region. A status of ships inside the distortion. The sensor officer checked, his compound eyes widened. Supreme Commander, the destroyers inside the distortion are reporting system failures. Weapons are offline, shields are offline, engines are losing power, they are dead in space. Threx stood what? All systems on affected ships are failing simultaneously. Not one by one, all at once. Weapons, shields, engines, life support, communications, everything. The ships are not damaged, they are simply not functioning. How many ships are affected? The number climbed as the distortion expanded. 100 ships, 500, 1,000. The ripple moved through the Vranthi formation like a wave passing through water. Every ship it touched went dark. 2,000 ships affected. 3,000, 5,000. Supreme Commander, the distortion is expanding faster than we can move. Our formation is too dense, we cannot outrun it. Threx watched the display in disbelief. The distortion was now a sphere 7 million kilometers in diameter. 10,000 Vranthi ships were inside it, all of them dark, all of them dead. Not destroyed, dead, systems offline, power gone, weapons silent, shields down. As if someone had reached inside each ship and turned it off. Full reverse all ships, maximum thrust, get out of the distortion. The order went out. 20,000 ships that were still outside the sphere began accelerating away. But the sphere was still expanding, faster than the ships could flee. 15,000 ships inside, 20,000, 25,000. The Vanguard sat at the center of the sphere, motionless, silent, a black shape surrounded by a graveyard of disabled warships. Webb felt every ship inside his field. He felt their systems fail. He felt their crews react with confusion and fear. He felt them try to restart their engines, try to reroute power, try to fight back against something they could not understand. The cascade field did not destroy, it changed. Inside the sphere, the electromagnetic constant had been modified. Electrons no longer flowed through circuits. Current stopped. Power stopped. Every electrical system in every ship ceased to function simultaneously. It was not a weapon, it was a physics edit. 30,000 ships inside the sphere now. 35,000, 40,000. The outer edge of the Vranthi formation was breaking apart. Ships fled in every direction. Discipline collapsed. The perfect wedge formation disintegrated into chaos. The Supreme Commander, 42,000 ships inside the distortion. We have 8,000 ships still outside. I am attempting to coordinate a counterattack, but the distortion is still expanding. It will reach us in approximately 90 seconds. Threx gripped his command console. His claws gouged the metal. 42,000 ships, his entire front line, his heavy combatants, his dreadnoughts, all of them dark, all of them helpless. One human ship. The ones. Open fire on the human vessel. All remaining ships. Concentrate everything on that black ship. 8,000 Vranthi ships fired. Energy beams, plasma torpedoes, kinetic barrages. The combined firepower of 8,000 warships struck the distortion field. The weapons stopped at the boundary. Beams bent, torpedoes slowed, kinetic rounds halted. The distortion field absorbed nothing. It simply changed the physics of the space the weapons occupied. Projectiles lost momentum. Energy dispersed. The attack died at the edge of the sphere like waves breaking against a cliff. Supreme Commander, our weapons had zero effect. The distortion is now encompassing our positio. Then, Threx felt it, a tingling sensation across his carapace. The lights on the bridge of the Invincible flickered. Then went dark. Silence. 50,000 Vranthi ships drifted in the void. Dark, powerless, dead. The cascade field held them all, 7 million kilometers of altered space. Inside the sphere, the electromagnetic constant was modified. Inside the sphere, electrons did not flow. Inside the sphere, the Vranthi fleet existed as nothing more than mass and momentum, floating, helpless, unable to power a single system. Webb sat in his chair. He felt the entire sphere through his neural interface. Every ship, every system, every crew member, 50,000 vessels, 3 trillion beings, all of them contained within his field. The generator hummed in the core of the Vanguard. Power consumption was within projected parameters. He had been at full output for 11 minutes. 34 minutes of reserve remained. He opened a channel not to the Vranthi fleet. They could not receive it. Their communications were dead. He opened a channel to Prometheus. Prometheus command. This is Captain Webb aboard the UNS Vanguard. The Vranthi fleet has been neutralized. All 50,000 ships are disabled and contained within my field. The planet is safe. Begin recovery operations at your discretion. The response came in 14 seconds. Shock, disbelief, then action. Prometheus orbital facilities launched recovery craft. Tugs moved toward the disabled Vranthi ships. Boarding teams prepared. Webb then opened a channel to the Vranthi flagship. He modulated the signal to pass through the Cascade field. The Vranthi had no power, but their emergency communication crystals could still receive passive signals. Supreme Commander Threx. This is Captain Daniel Webb of the United Human Dominion. I am aware you can hear this even though you cannot respond. Your fleet is contained. Your systems are disabled. Your weapons are offline. Your ships will remain in this state for as long as I choose to maintain the field. He paused. I want you to understand what you are experiencing. You are not being attacked. You are being demonstrated upon. What you feel right now, the helplessness, the inability to act, the total absence of control, this is what every species you have ever destroyed felt in their final moments. The Vranthi Collective has erased 31 species from this galaxy. Today, you faced a single human ship and you could not do anything. Not one thing. Think about what that means. Webb closed the channel. He sat in the dark, the black walls of the bridge, the hum of the generator, the presence of 50,000 dead ships surrounding him. He held them there for 6 hours. Not because he needed to, because he wanted the Vranthi to experience helplessness for longer than a few minutes. He wanted them to sit in the dark, unable to move, unable to fight, unable to do anything but wait for a human to decide their fate. 6 hours in the dark. Then Webb contracted the field. He reduced the sphere gradually. As each group of ships exited the boundary, their systems restored. Electrons flowed again, power returned, lights came on, engines restarted. But the ships did not fire. They did not flee. They sat in space, surrounded by the aftermath of their helplessness. Webb left the sphere contracted around the flagship Invincible, Threx's ship, the symbol of Vranthi power. He opened a channel. Supreme Commander, your ship is still contained. The rest of your fleet is free. You have a choice. Order your fleet to withdraw from human space. Return to Vranthi territory. Do not return. In exchange, I will release your flagship and allow you to leave with your command intact. Threx's voice came back, rough, damaged, the voice of a being who had spent 6 hours in total darkness. You could destroy us all. Right now, we cannot stop you. Oh yes. Why haven't you? Because destruction is what the Vranthi do. It is not what humans do. A long silence. Order the withdrawal, Threx. This is your only chance to leave this system with your fleet. The human reinforcements will arrive in approximately 2 hours, 2,000 ships. When they arrive, they will find 50,000 Vranthi vessels that were stopped by one human ship. That is the message we want to send, not destruction, demonstration. Threx was quiet for 30 seconds. Vranthi forces, this is Supreme Commander Threx, withdrawal order, all ships, reverse course, return to Vranthi territory, maximum speed, Do not engage human forces. Do not deviate from the withdrawal corridor. The order went out across the recovering fleet. One by one, the Vranthi ships turned, 49,999 ships. They formed into a ragged withdrawal formation, not the perfect wedge that had arrived. A broken, humiliated column of vessels that had learned what it felt like to be prey. Webb released the Invincible. The flagship joined the withdrawal, T. H-Rex did not transmit another word. He did not need to. The lesson had been delivered. 50,000 ships, one human vessel. The largest military force the Vranthi had deployed in 800 years, stopped by a single ship that never fired a weapon. The withdrawal took 3 hours. The last Vranthi ship crossed the system boundary and entered warp space. The Vanguard hung alone in the Prometheus system, 47 kilometers of black hull, silent, patient. Its generator had consumed 67% of its energy reserves, 33% remained. Webb had planned for 45 minutes. He had used 6 hours. The engineering projections had been wrong. The generator was more efficient than the trials had indicated. He noted that for the reports. The aftermath rippled across the galaxy within days. Human intelligence had recorded the entire engagement from multiple angles. Watchpost nodes in the system, sensor data from Prometheus orbital facilities, the Vanguard's own internal recordings. The footage was devastating, not visually. There was no destruction, no explosions, no debris fields, just 50,000 ships going dark one after another. A wave of silence spreading through the Vranthi formation like a disease. The Vranthi Collective received the footage before anyone else. It was delivered directly to their war council by human diplomatic channels, unencrypted, unfiltered, with a simple message attached. This could have been your entire species. It was not. Do not make us do this again. The War Council watched the footage in silence. 27 fleet commanders, the chief strategist, the director of weapons development, all of them watching their greatest armada go dark in minutes. A chief strategist Vel spoke first. The human ship did not fire a single weapon. It did not deploy a single fighter. It did not launch a single missile. It simply changed the physics of the space our ships occupied. Our technology was rendered irrelevant, not overcome, not outmatched, irrelevant. The Supreme Commander Threx sat at the head of the council table. He had not spoken since returning from Prometheus. His compound eyes were dim, his posture was stooped. Something had changed in him. The field, he said, describe it. Vel pulled up the analysis. Our best assessment is that the human vessel generated a sphere of altered physics approximately 7 million kilometers in diameter. Within this sphere, the electromagnetic constant was modified to a value that prevents electron flow. Without electron flow, every electrical system in every ship ceased to function simultaneously. Can we counter it? Not with any technology we possess. The field is not a weapon that can be blocked or absorbed. It is a fundamental change to the rules of physics within its volume. Countering it would require the ability to impose our own physical constants over the human imposition. We cannot do that. Then how do we fight it? Vel was quiet for a moment. We do not. The council erupted. Fleet commanders shouted, demands for retaliation, calls for a larger fleet, insistence that the Vranthi could overwhelm the human ship with sufficient numbers. Threx let them rage. He watched, he waited. He had sat in the dark for 6 hours. He had felt the helplessness. He understood what his commanders did not. When the noise subsided, he spoke. You did not feel it. I did. 6 hours in the dark, unable to move, unable to fight, unable to do anything but exist. That ship did not need to destroy us. It could have held us forever. It could have let us suffocate when our life support batteries died. It chose not to. That choice is more terrifying than any weapon. Supreme Commander. We cannot counter the technology, we cannot overwhelm it with numbers. The field encompassed 50,000 ships, it would encompass 100,000. A million, the number is irrelevant. The field does not care how many ships are inside it. It changes the physics for all of them equally. Vel nodded. Our analysis confirms this. The energy cost of the field appears to be related to its volume, not the number of targets within it. Doubling the number of ships inside the sphere would not increase the energy required to maintain it. Then adding more ships to a future engagement achieves nothing except more ships trapped in the dark. Oh yes. Threx looked around the council table. 27 of the most powerful military commanders in the Vranthi Collective. Not one of them had an answer. Not one of them had a strategy. Not one of them could explain how to defeat a single ship. Tell me about the ship itself, Threx said. Minimal data, we never got close enough for detailed analysis. It is approximately 47 kilometers in length. Black hull, no visible weapon systems, no visible sensor arrays, no visible technology of any kind. It appears to be a single integrated structure built around one system. The Cascade Field Generator. A one system. A one ship, and it defeated 50,000 of ours. Oh yes. Threx leaned back, his massive frame dwarfed the council chair. The humans built this ship in secret, just as they built their 2 million ships in secret, just as they infiltrated the council in secret, just as they positioned forces throughout Dominion territory in secret. Secrecy is their greatest weapon, not the ships, not the technology, the secrecy. We never know what they have until they show us. What do you recommend, Supreme Commander? Threx was quiet for a long time. The council waited. The fate of the Vranthi Collective hung in the silence. I recommend that we contact the humans, diplomatically, through the council. We will request a meeting to discuss the incident at Prometheus. We will express our intention to respect human territorial sovereignty. We will seek a formal non-aggression agreement. The council erupted again, this time with outrage. Surrender, you are recommending surrender. I am recommending survival. The Vranthi Collective has existed for 4,000 years. We have defeated 31 species. We have never faced a species that could disable our entire military with one ship. We are facing one now. If we challenge them, they will demonstrate again, and again, and again, until there is nothing left to challenge. The Vranthi do not surrender. The Vranthi have never needed to. That does not mean we are incapable of it. It means we have never been wise enough to recognize when surrender is the only rational option. The council fell silent. Threx's words settled over them like a funeral shroud. 4,000 years of Vranthi supremacy ended by one ship. Not through destruction, through demonstration. The Vranthi had always believed that overwhelming force was the ultimate expression of power. They had been wrong. The ultimate expression of power was the ability to make overwhelming force irrelevant. Humanity had done that with one ship. The Vranthi diplomatic request arrived at Nexus Station 11 days after the Prometheus engagement. The council convened a special session. Miltha presided, the arbiter observed, human representatives attended, Captain Webb was present via holographic link. The Vranthi ambassador entered the chambers. He was smaller than Threx, a diplomat, not a warrior, but the weight of what had happened hung on him like a cloak. He stood before the council and spoke. The Vranthi Collective formally acknowledges the incident at the Prometheus system. We acknowledge that our fleet entered human territory without authorization. We acknowledge that the human vessel designated Vanguard engaged our fleet and achieved complete neutralization without the use of conventional weapons. We acknowledge that the Vranthi Collective was defeated by a single human ship. The chambers were silent. The collective requests a formal non-aggression agreement with the United Human Dominion. We request the establishment of a demilitarized zone along our shared border. We request the opening of diplomatic channels for ongoing communication. We do not request these things from a position of strength. We request them from a position of understanding. Miltha spoke understanding of what? The Vranthi ambassador looked at the human delegation, at Webb's holographic image, at the calm, gray-haired man who had held 50,000 ships in the dark for 6 hours. Understanding that the galaxy has changed. Understanding that the Vranthi way of war is obsolete. Understanding that a species that can build one ship like the Vanguard can build 10, or 100, or 1,000, and that no amount of Vranthi ships will ever be enough. Webb spoke for the first time. Ambassador, the Vanguard is a prototype. The first of its kind, it will not be the last. The Vranthi ambassador absorbed this. Then our request is not merely diplomatic, it is existential. Oh yes. The non-aggression agreement was drafted in 4 hours, signed in 5. The Vranthi withdrew all forces from the human border. A demilitarized zone 50 light-years wide was established on both sides. Diplomatic channels opened. The Vranthi Collective, for the first time in 4,000 years, chose coexistence over conflict. The council session adjourned. The delegates filed out. The Vranthi ambassador walked slowly. A broken pride, a humbled species, a new understanding. Webb's hologram faded. On the bridge of the Vanguard, still holding position in the Prometheus system, he disconnected from the neural interface. His first officer approached, Commander Lisa Park. She had been transferred from the Resolve specifically for this assignment. Sir, the Vranthi withdrawal has been confirmed. All ships have left human space. Oh, good. Prometheus Command reports all systems nominal. Industrial output has already returned to pre-crisis levels. The population is calm. Oh, good. Sir, there is something else. Webb looked at hers. Messages, hundreds of them from SP. SEs across the galaxy. Minor species, unmanaged species, species we have never had contact with. They heard about Prometheus. They know what the Vanguard did. They are asking for help. Webb was quiet. Some of them are facing threats similar to what the Muri faced. Some are being raided. Some are being hunted. Some are simply afraid. They heard that one human ship stopped 50,000 warships, and they want to know if that ship can come to their systems too. Webb thought about the Muri, about the Velari, about every helpless species that had ever looked at the sky and wondered if anyone was watching. How many messages? 347. In the last 6 hours, the number is increasing. Webb looked out the viewport. Stars, billions of them, each one a sun, each sun surrounded by worlds. Each world populated by beings who wanted nothing more than to exist in peace. One ship had changed the galaxy's understanding of power. One ship had humbled the largest military force deployed in 800 years. One ship had done it without firing a weapon. Imagine what 10 could do. Send the messages to the Protection Command, Webb said. Let Commander Chen decide the priorities. The Vanguard will return to Titan for refueling and generator calibration. We will be ready for the next deployment within 72 hours. Oh, yes, sir. The Vanguard turned. Its black hull caught the light of a distant star. One ship, 47 kilometers, one cascade generator, one crew. Oh, enough. 3 months later, the second Vanguard-class vessel launched from the Titan shipyards. The third launched 2 weeks after that. The fourth was under construction. The fifth was in the design phase. The human military-industrial complex had retooled for cascade production. The technology was being replicated, refined, improved. The Vranthi watched from their territory. Their intelligence networks reported every launch, every construction milestone, every test. They counted the Vanguard-class ships as they appeared. 1, 2, 3, 4. Each one capable of generating a sphere of altered physics 7 million kilometers in diameter. Each one capable of disabling any number of ships within that sphere. Each one capable of holding a fleet in the dark for as long as its crew chose. The Vranthi War Council met again. Same room, same commanders, different mood. 4 Vanguard-class ships now operational, Vel reported. Production rate is approximately 1 per month. At this pace, the humans will have 12 within a year, 50 within 4 years. 50 ships that can each disable our entire military, Threx said. Oh yes. Then the non-aggression agreement was not a concession. It was a mercy. Oh yes. Threx looked at the holographic display. A map of human territory, 47,000 systems, 4.7 million conventional warships, and now Vanguard-class ships appearing one by one, each one worth more than 1 million conventional vessels. Each one capable of doing what the first one did to the Vranthi. Disable everything, change the rules, win without fighting. The humans have a saying, Threx said quietly. I heard it from a diplomat at Nexus Station. The council waited. They said the strongest weapon is the one that never has to fire. No one responded. Threx turned from the display. Ensure our compliance with the agreement. Every clause, every provision, no violations, no provocations, no testing of boundaries. We abide by the agreement completely. Because the next time we do not, there will not be 1 ship waiting for us. There will be 4, and after that there will be more. And we will sit in the dark again, and the humans may not be as merciful as Captain Webb was. The council agreed unanimously. 4,000 years of Vranthi military tradition, ended by 1 ship, 1 demonstration, 6 hours in the dark. The Vranthi would never forget what the darkness felt like. On the bridge of the original Vanguard, Captain Webb received the intelligence reports. 4 Vanguard-class ships now operational, more coming, the human protection network expanding, 347 species asking for help, more requests arriving every day. He sat in his chair, connected to the ship, felt the generator hum in the core, felt the potential of the Cascade field waiting to be unleashed. 1 ship had been enough for 50,000. The galaxy was about to learn what 10 could do. Apex chronicled. They sent 50,000 warships to destroy a world. Humanity sent 1 ship to save it. The math was never about numbers. It was about who was writing the equation.